A little deer strangulation. You know, when I was a kid, you could not go anywhere during deer hunting season, anywhere outside of Binghamton, and not see an endless series of dead deer strapped across the front ends of cars. So it is one of the lasting memories for me from childhood. Anyway, this is a scene during summer vacation from college, and people are taking coke and killing deers. Eventually they send us home. It is summer again and we're done. Once home we settle into the old routines. We get high, we mow lawns, we wait for something better or more interesting or whatever. Jake seems angrier now and Louis is way more erratic. His humor and playfulness having gained an edge at a level of sadness he cannot combat. One morning we meet for work, and Jake and Louis seem near death. Their faces are pale and their noses are red and raw. They are wired and manic, and they've been up all night. George has turned them on to cocaine, and they spent the night before with some girls snorting, fucking, and driving the back roads. Sammy, dude, you have got to try this shit, Louis tells me. Okay, so first, your heart gets racing. Which, by the way, no one ever sold me on coke with this description, but I've heard it many times. First, your heart gets racing, and you're fucking fearless. And then you can go all night, he tells me. I even sprinkled some coke on my dick, and I never came close to losing my heart out. That sounds great, I say, hoping to change the subject. Okay, so anyway, he says, enough about the dicks. We've got to tell you what we did last night, says Jake, jumping in and cutting off Louis. I think you did, I say. This is for all you cemetery fans. You picked up some skeezers and fucked them in a cemetery, right? Yeah, true, but that's not what I want to tell you about. Here's what I want to tell you about. We're driving along, right? And it's dark. And we're on this dirt road up by Quaker Lake. And all of a sudden, this fucking deer jumps right out in front of us. And we hit it, Louis says. With the car, we fucking nail it. But that deer doesn't die. No, Jake says, he's just kind of injured. And he's trying to crawl off the road. And the girls, they start screaming how we have to put that deer out of his misery, Louis says, that it's cruel, that we can't just leave him on the side of the road to die. Who the fuck would do that? And I say, fine, whatever, I'll kill a deer. So we get out of the car and we climb out and we run over to that deer, Louis tells me. And I get him in a fucking headlock, right? Yeah, Jake says, he's gonna strangle that motherfucker right there on the side of the road. I notice at this point how high he is and how much his nose is bleeding. But that's the thing, Louis says. I was not the only person bleeding, because the deer is bleeding everywhere. Anyway, Jake says, Louis starts squeezing this deer around the fucking neck. You gotta see this. I wish you could have seen this. You gotta see it. It's crazy. And I'm really trying hard to choke him, Louis says, but you know, pretty hard to choke a deer, right? He's still breathing and shit. Anyway, this car pulls over right next to us. And this old guy gets out. He's dressed in like his tennis whites. And he gets out and he starts giving me shit for trying to strangle a deer. And I'm like, yo man, I'm trying to help him, not hurt him. Oh, but the old guy won't hear that. He just keeps giving me shit, right? And then, boom. Jake comes out of nowhere. He's been at the truck. And he's running at us with my dad's axe. Well, he's not getting the job done, Jake says. Anyway, Louis tells me, Jake starts hitting the deer in the neck with this axe. It's crazy. Fucking crazy. And it's hard, Jake says. You ever try to cut off a deer's head with an axe? Anyway, if this wasn't cool enough, the best part of the story is that with each swing, Jake is spraying the old guy with deer blood. He goes from screaming at us to shrieking. And we start laughing so hard, Jake can't finish the job. Pretty intense, Louis tells me. And the deer, I say, fucking crawled off in the woods to die. Aww. I know, terrible.